inventory. If you look at 2024 going forward, you can see that deliveries are expected to be way down, which makes sense given the softness of the market, and hopefully will again help the market recover sooner. Moving on to our next slide, we're looking at sales volumes and market sale prices per square foot. And not surprisingly, sales volumes are down considerably. You can see we kind of hit a peak in 2021, but we're way off those numbers here in 2024. In addition to that, sale prices per square foot are way down. You're looking at, in 2021 up around an average of 360 a foot versus 260 a foot right around 2024. And a lot of, some of these sales more recently have been more distressed sales. And as we've mentioned in prior presentations, and as we've talked about in prior presentations, we're expecting that the inventory of distressed sales to increase, and we're seeing that in actual fact right now. So these numbers are likely to go lower and will not start recovering until 2027. So with that, Charles, anything before I'm going to have you talk about the Denver office market, but anything you want to add to on the Washington?
Yeah, well, first off, looking at this graph, you're going to see this same graph pop up for all the product types. So that is a factor of the increased interest rates, as you said, and the cost of owning any real estate has gone up so much. So we saw this across the board, but we really see this bifurcation between, say, industrial properties and multifamily properties who are performing basically to a market cycle. You can understand why there might be a slowdown in industrial, why the vacancy of multifamily is higher in Denver, but you see it's going to get worked through. There's real uncertainty. That's the other side of this on the retail side and the office side, because we don't know how long is it going to take for employees to come back to the office. We also know that Denver and Washington were two of the worst performing office markets because you have a lot of high-tech workers in those markets that can work. They can make those demands and their bosses will say, yeah, that's okay. And so there's this uncertainty. Well, when are we going to get back to normal, or are we going to just have a new normal going forward that we have to plan for? So it's really, it's a very interesting concept. So now moving towards to Denver. So what I just said was Washington and Denver are performing very similarly. So Denver's vacancy rate is 17.1%. Washington's is 17.4%. If you had a list of the major markets around the country, they're very much the same. Denver and Washington are really right there at the top. We also talked about the fact that companies that are renewing their leases are doing it for smaller spaces. Nationwide is 20%. In Denver, 42% less space on the average when they're renewing leases. And that's huge. And it's a big, big challenge for developers. In Denver, where we're seeing is a real flight to quality. So you have companies that want their people in the office. Well, what they're trying to do is entice them back in the office with great amenities like great food, health clubs, things that will make them want to come to